Hello everyone, AmyR here from Prairie Paper and Ink with a video for the Picket Fence YouTube channel. Today is the Picket Fence Studios November 2024 release. I will have a link to the new release in the description box below the video. It's definitely worth checking out. There's a lot of cute products, so many fun things. There's a new trio of paper glazes, which I use one of them in this video and it's very pretty. I love it. Love it. So these are nice because you can, they're slightly smaller jars so you can test out, different finishes and textures and fun things like that. So I'm going to do some easy ink blending, stenciling with that fabulous paste. We'll do some Olo marker coloring, all the fun things. With everything else, I will have links to everything I used in the description box below the video. If you just expand the description box, everything will be listed and linked for you. That's it for the housekeeping. Let's get into making the card. So I started with the background for this, and I have a panel of A2 size cardstock, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and a quad of inks from Altenew. This is the Deep Blue Seas fresh dye ink set, and I have them in these ink stands from Brienne. I love these. I had bought one of them whenever, like forever ago, and then got 3 more because I was like, a lot of times I like to use, all 4 ink colors at once, and this just holds them in place. Love it. So I've got the 4 inks, and I'm going lightest to darkest. And I'm using one of my Picket Fence Studios life-changing blender brushes. And I discovered that my brush, I had rubbed it on a microfiber cloth because I've talked about this. I don't wash my brushes. I don't have time for that. Don't have the energy for that. Cannot be bothered. But I discovered that even though I'd rubbed the brush on a cloth, that there must have still been some yellow ink in it. So that bottom color ended up being just a slight little bit of a green tint. But, I'm fine with it. Once everything's done, you're not even going to notice it anyway. I noticed it immediately because I was like, this ink color, this sea breeze color is not green. It's blue. It's very much blue. But that's what I get for just, grabbing brushes at random. But I just worked lightest to darkest, blending it onto this panel. And these inks do, soften and smooth out as they dry. So even though my camera more often than not likes to make me look like I am not a very good ink blender, it doesn't matter because sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I just can't be bothered because, we're going to add splatter or whatever on top of it. This time I'm going to stencil on top, but this does smooth out and dry just fabulously. So I kind of worked back and forth a little bit, lightest to darkest, and then kind of worked my way back just to, get everything just fully saturated and a good blend going on there. Love. And then I'm going to take the background, and I'm just sticking it to my big paper inking palette. And I'm using the new On a Cloudy Day stencil. I love that these stencils are 6 by 8. Because if you want to do larger cards, or slimline panels, that sort of a thing, you don't have to move the stencil, whole thing. Plus, this is clouds. I love clouds. You can use them for so many things, scene building, all that sort of stuff. So I've got the stencil in place. And then I'm using the Paper Glaze Luxe in Twinkle Lights Silver. This stuff is so pretty. I wasn't 100% certain how this paste would work over top of an ink blended background like this, like a background that these inks are technically water reactive, and a lot of times you can apply a paste and it will absorb that ink and tint it, and it just ends up sometimes looking a little weird. So I wasn't 100% sure. This didn't do that. And also it's so pretty. I love it. I love it. I love that it's not white. It has almost the teensiest tint of gray to it. It's perfect for clouds. Legit. I love it. I'll show it at the end. I'll even use my little flashlight to try and show the texture. It's really pretty, you guys. I'm a fan. So anyway, after I'd applied it, I immediately cleaned off my stencil. I cleaned off my palette. Everything was good to go. And then for my main image, this is the little Freckle Friends set. Picket Fence has many sets now with this little character. She's super cute. And this is the climbing Calliope. Did I pronounce that right? I Googled it before I did this voiceover, you guys, and it's already like gone out my brain. I hope I pronounced it properly, but if not, well, whatever. I mispronounce things all the time. She's super cute. Stamped her onto more of this. This is Simon Says Stamps, 120 pound, like smooth white cardstock. And I stamped it with intense black ink. And then I'm coloring the image in with, not Copic, Olo markers. And this first little bit, this is real time. This has not been sped up yet. I'm going to speed this up quite a bit in editing, but I try to show like a bit of real time so y'all know, like, here it is. Now it's sped up. I don't move this quickly. I don't color this quickly. Honestly, just in real life, if I could just speed up like house cleaning, that sort of a thing, I would like that. But coloring, I don't color this quickly. I enjoy the process. But yeah, this has been sped up in editing because otherwise my videos just get way too long. Other thing to note, these are, yes, Olo markers. They're great. I've really been enjoying them. And just of note, if you haven't seen any of my previous videos using these markers, these come with connectors. You can connect them, have 2 different colors on a marker, or get different, like there's options. I don't use the connectors, not right now. I will down the road, but right now I like being able to see every single color I have. I've been using them as what I call little stublets, so little half markers. So that's why they look so silly. Genuinely, they do not bother me like this. I have no problem coloring like this. Doesn't cause my hand to have issues, anything like that. I just want to point that out because some people are like, what is wrong with you? Many things. Okay. I got a lot of issues. We're all probably well aware of that, but the markers isn't one of them. It's just how I prefer to use them for now. Main reason is I'm holding out. I've been here and people have been contacting them for me, everything that they're going to release like fine tips, like bullet nibs. I'm hoping for that because I don't use chisel nibs. That's not how I color. So that's what I'm holding out for, you know? And if I get proven right, y'all hear me shouting it from the rooftops and I'll probably film it live, me connecting the markers if they do release like fine little nibs. Oh, would love it. Would love it. Anyway, back to the coloring. So I'm using my Olo markers and I went with very warm colors for this hot air balloon because I wanted a nice contrast from the background, which was very cool colors, blue. So I did a combo, not, in a way I don't normally do. Normally I would do like rainbow, all rainbow, but this time I was like, ooh, like kind of pinky, peachy, yellow colors. It's just fun. So I colored my little character first, did the hair and the skin tone, and then started doing everything else. The hot air balloon and the little basket and the two little puppy dogs. Like they're just going on an adventure. I love it. So colored them in and yeah. Don't have anything life-changing really at this point with anything I did. I kept everything pretty basic other than I went over the little ropes and the parts holding everything together with a warm gray Olo marker just to kind of tone everything back a bit. Just cuz. And then for my little highlights, I'm using my Jelly Roll pen. As usual, I don't really follow any of the rules when it comes to like a light source, things like that. I just add little dots and highlights wherever I think they're going to look nice, Again, nothing too life-changing. It just is. So yeah, went around, added them wherever I thought they would work. Went over the little lines on the basket with it, that sort of a thing. And then this is where I did something a little different because I don't hardly ever do this. This is something like that you see Kelly Taylor do all the time. Like this is her forte, is coloring around the images when you like die cut to get rid of like the white outline. 99% of the time, the white outline does not bother me in the least. I just can't be bothered, but it does look nice. And I thought this time I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be Kelly today and color. Although her coloring is a million times better than mine. The things she does with alcohol markers, it's crazy. So I took 3 shades of blue Olo markers because since my background is ombre, darker to lighter, so I couldn't do just one color. And I went around the outline and then the open areas with this to finish it off. And I do like it. I might have to do this more often. It does give just that extra little finishing touch. Do you have to do it? No. But it only takes a couple minutes and I like it. It really did just kind of amp it up a little bit. So I worked kind of darkest to lightest. So I did dark right along, the very top of the outline, and then took in a medium blue, most of the way down, and then the lightest blue, blended them together, and then just finished off that last little bit of the outline. And yeah, it's another one of those little subtle things you can do that just steps it up a little bit. So blended it out a little bit more because my blend there wasn't very nice. And then that finished off the main image of this. And it's just going to kind of fit in nicely with the background. And then for my sentiments, I'm using sentiments from that same little stamp set. And I just grabbed a scrap of black cardstock. And I used my anti-static powder tool on it. And I'm going to stamp a couple of these sentiments with some clear embossing ink. And then coat these with some detail white embossing powder. So get that on there, tap off the excess. I end up putting the lid back on and realizing I was a little too rough tapping it off. You just need to tap it gently. So put the embossing powder on there, and then I'm going to melt that with my heat tool so everything is smooth, shiny, melted. And then let that cool off for a second. Use my microfiber cloth to buff away that excess anti-static powder. And then I'm going to use the coordinating wafer dies to die cut both of these sentiments. And then I'm going to do the inside of my card. And my card is going to be a top folding A2 white note card. So 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I've got my card base here. And I have my card base laid out onto my paper inking palette. And I put a piece of Post-it tape right at the score line so I don't get anything past the score line. And I'm using that On a Cloudy Day stencil again, and the Sea Breeze ink, the lightest blue shade that I'd inked with earlier. And you can't really tell, filming straight down like this, but I am barely touching the brush to the background. Like just very lightly brushing it, just swirling it in the ink lightly, and then very lightly brushing it because I just want just a soft, the soft image on the inside. So I've got all those little clouds. So got all of that, removed it from the palette, removed the Post-it tape, and then I'm going to stamp the little happy birthday stamp from that same set. I'm going to stamp that with the black ink. And I was going to leave it at that, but there's that little banner image, and then there's 2 little birds in that set. And I was like, they're really cute. So I decided to just stamp them right above the sentiment, just using that black ink, using my acrylic blocks, just eyeballing it. And I'm going to color these in with my Olo markers. And again, normally I don't do this. I always finish the insides of my cards, whether it's like just a sentiment or stenciling, things like this, whatever. But I don't often hardly ever stamp and color on the insides. But this needed it. And I'm not doing any blending or anything. I'm literally just putting the color down and with a very light hand. And because my cardstock is heavyweight, again, it's 120 pound, it is very heavyweight. And I'll show the back, this doesn't bleed through. When you do blending, especially with the Olos, because they are very juicy markers, even through this cardstock, it will show through the back normally. But something really light and simple like this doesn't show through. So I was able to add, I used the same blues for the little birds, and then I just used the medium shades that I used on the hot air balloon for the front of the card for the little banners. And that was it. Gave them a little bit of color, just finished it off. And then I can take my background. I decided to trim it down. It was originally A2 sized. And I took about 1/4 inch off each side, so it ends up being 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And after I trim that down, I'm going to pop this up with some Altenew foam tape. So this is going to give it some dimension because for the most part, I kept this card this is my version of, kind of clean and simple. So usually when I do more clean and simple, I build up the dimension because why not? Why not? So popped up the background with the foam tape. And then I'm going to also adhere my little hot air balloon girly with foam squares. So get those into place, because especially when you're adhering on top of anything like very dimensional like this paste, any sort of like glitter paste, things like that, you either want to use a really strong like liquid adhesive or things like foam tape, etc., to make sure things stay adhered, because it's like glitter paste, glitter cardstock, etc. It's like they repel adhesive. So you want to make sure you use something strong. So foam squares, foam tape, good strong adhesive is the way to go. So pop those into place, pop the sentiments into place with the foam squares, and that finished off the card. So I use my flashlight to show, it shows more of the texture, because even though it's got glitter in it, it is not in your face glittery, if that makes sense. It's pretty. This is like might become like my go-to paste for clouds, because I love, like I said earlier, I love that it's not like stark white. It's got that little bit of gray to it, but then it's got that like sparkly, twinkly light look. I love it. I love it. It's so fun. So that was the card. Like I mentioned in the intro, links to all the things are in the description box below the video. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you all very soon in another video. Bye.